Hello students, we have our two plaque panels for the glue up stage here. So let me put on my GoPro and let's see how we do it. I've dry clamped this one and it is tight, it's ready for glue. Let me show you how we did that, right? Last video we did the IO on the joiner. In, out, right? I is into the fence, O is out. So if there is any error, that error is complemented rather than multiplied, and makes for tight joints. So we're ready to dry clamp this one. I'm gonna grab my clamp. When you're over here grabbing the bar clamp, grab it by the handle, not by the bar. You're gonna get pinched. Watch what happens. That thing's gonna fall down and hit your hand and pinch you. So always grab them by the handle, okay? And first thing you're gonna wanna do is open it up all the way, lefty-loosey, right? To make sure you've got all of your threads available, because we found out that the last ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch of threads do not work. It doesn't give you any clamp pressure. So you run out of threads before you think you do. Okay, let's get these up there. We are going to dry clamp every panel before we add glue. And here's how you want to do it. You want your clamp to be flush with the outside edge of your boards, okay? You want all the threads showing, and then we push it together. Hold the panel down or the parts down as you righty-tighty. Okay, and you'll get your pressure. Okay, then the other one, same thing. The clamps need to be on the outer 2 inches so you get pressure on the edge of the board. We're going to add our pressure and evaluate our joints. One hand tight. If you use 2 hands, you'll squeeze the glue clear out. Okay. If we see any spaces, and that's a little suspect right there, right? We could go join it again. We would joint this as an I, this piece as an O, see if we could bring that together any tighter, okay? So, yeah, we dry clamp before we add glue. This one looked good, so let's add our glue. I'm gonna take the pressure off, open up the clamp all the way again, give myself a little extra room, staying on the outer 2 inches of my panel. Now these clamps, you don't want to get, if you've got a long panel, they can be spread out as much as 18 inches maximum, okay? So if your panel's longer than 18, you're going to want a third clamp, and then so on and so forth. Every 18 inches maximum. All right, so first board stays down. The next one, we flip it up, and we flip them all the same, right? So we keep our joints in order, IO, right? I just flipped them counterclockwise. Okay, I'm gonna add glue to the first board, about an 1/8 inch bead. Then I use my finger. This is open time, okay? We want to keep it down to no more than a couple minutes, because then our glue crusts over and then it's not as strong. So that's, I'm getting it over the entire, every square inch of that piece. Okay, then I put it together. Now that's close time. That can be, 5 to 8 minutes before we go to clamp time, which needs to be a minimum of 2 hours. All right, so next piece. Notice how I put the bead in the middle, and then I use my finger, and I'm going from the middle out. Seems to be an efficient way to spread the glue without making a big mess. We want a little bit of squeeze out, okay? That's about the right amount of glue. Next one. Notice I'm doing them one at a time. Otherwise, your glue is gonna crust over on you, right? Open time is very short. Okay, so I want to get my close time within about 5 minutes, right? so I get maximum strength from my glue. And I think you would agree, we're way under 5 minutes, and I'm staying under, for my open time, I'm staying well under the 2 minutes. Okay, so there I am, close time. Okay, ready for clamp time. Keeping my clamp on the outer 2 inches. Got all my threads, holding the board down, applying pressure, one hand tight. And I'm not going full yet until I get the other one snug. See my glue squeezing out? That's good. And now I'm going one hand tight. I'm keeping pressure down. We want it to be flat on the bar clamp, right? So that's one hand tight. Now we're going to check to see if it's flat. It looks pretty flat. You see that? If it's not, you could use a mallet. We've got those in the cabinet, and you could knock it down flat. You've only got a couple minutes. After that, you won't move it. It only takes a few minutes for this glue to set up, and you won't be able to move it. You'd have to bust it and rejoin it and re-glue it, that kind of thing. So this looks pretty good. Okay, I love these bar clamps because they stand up on end. When you're done with yours, you're gonna put it on the floor. We'll have a bunch of them when you guys are here. Before we do that, however, we wanna clean the clamps. Can you see the glue on the clamp? We wanna get that off there. Otherwise, the next person, this bar clamp won't work for them. So I have wet rags over there at the sink. You're going to wet them, get them as wet as you can so the water runs all over the clamp and gets the glue off. All right, before you set it on the floor, the next thing you should do is write your name on it, and I'd probably go in pencil. It's easy to wipe chalk off, right? But we're gonna have a whole bunch of these sitting on the floor. We'll use all the clamps in a class period. So you can identify yours the next class period, put your name, you could put the date and the time on it. We won't take yours out until it's been 2 hours, all right? So if my next class we run out of clamps, we're gonna be looking all over the floor for projects that we could take out of the clamps, and we'll set them on the carts for you. I'll have the carts cleaned off. Okay, so you'll find your plaque over there the next class period. So the students don't take it out of the clamp too quickly. Have your name, the date, and the time written in pencil on your project. Okay, let's say I've done that, then I can set it over here out of the way, and we've got spots on this end of the shop for you to do that. Okay, so that's the process. Our next video will be ready to scrape the glue off as it's dried and plane it to thickness and smooth, then surface sand it, and then cut it to size. That's where we're going. See you next time.